Welcome back, Dota 2 fans. We're here. We're finally here. Last best of 3 of the day. Kicking off here. ESL One North American qualifiers. Open qualifiers, that is. ESL One Genting 2018. MRP Mike Lars here on ESL Join Dota Blue to bring you all the action, as we do have SRG taking on PizzaDog. Already today, guys, we've had 3 teams qualify. Mind's Eye Gaming, Taco Maker, and Filthy Casuals all making it through to the closed qualification bracket. And the last team to make it decided here, PizzaDog winning the coin toss. Mike, they elected for second pick in this one.
I think the weirder thing is that even though this is game 1, someone already won a game because the admin doesn't know what they're doing.
Shit. How did that happen?
One job, just leave it the way it is.
How did that happen? Anyways,
Everyone reported the admin, but
I hope.
Whoa, what patch is this? Are you sure you set it to the right patch?
I set it to Dota 2, whatever that is, current patch.
Change the patch, but I haven't seen Venomancer first pick in a very long time. Dude has fallen off hard.
Definitely so. But conceptually, the hero hasn't changed all that much. Definitely can run him in, I would say, all 3 core positions. Certainly some a little bit more alluring than others as far as his effectiveness. Mid lane, safe lane come to mind. Off lane, he really does need some help. And he really does need the appropriate safe lane to be facing in order to get some work done. Puck Ogre opening from PizzaDog here with their second pick.
And don't forget that way back when, Venomancer used to be nothing but a support hero. So, maybe it's not super premium. It's probably not good, but it's always a possibility. Sand King isn't really going to tell us all that much. It's going to be a nice, solid 4 position, more than likely. Some flexibility going towards that off lane, but unless the matchups are, for whatever reason, going to be really good there, or there's an offensive tri lane or something, odds are it will just be the Sand King on the roam. But PizzaDog sticking to things that are a little bit more safe. Can never go wrong with the Puck first pick. And you know what? You can never go wrong with Ogre first pick either, because he's the best hero in the game.
Yep, sure.
It's true.
Bloodlust is good. Good spell. Fire Blast is kind of terrible.
Fire Blast is so bad. Whenever you cast it, it sounds like it should be doing so much more damage.
The sound isn't bad. I'll give it that much. Cast animation, terrible. Damage, pretty terrible. Stun duration, not that great either. But hey, the hero overall certainly can be a nuisance into the early mid game and or early game, I should say, and then thereafter does help your core scale pretty well. Movement speed that he gives your team is kind of an underrated aspect of the hero. Additionally, so definitely a safe early pick. Can kind of throw him in any lane that needs assistance to battle up against the supporting cast of the opponent. Tidehunter ban coming out, and the Anti-Mage ban going to come out from the Radiant side.
I've been more and more impressed with Tidehunter in this patch. Some teams, of course, do it better than others, but just being able to play around that Ravage and kind of setting up your entire game style around the fact that if you get entrenched into a position where you're sieging a tower with a Shadow Fiend and you have a Tidehunter on your team, you're not getting unentrenched, whatever the word is. Like, you're staying there as long as you want. So very impressed with that hero. Interesting to see the Anti-Mage being... I mean, Anti-Mage is really good against taking a Venomancer, I guess. So yeah, they're going to take it out. Anyway, Radiant taking out some scary cores. It does seem like PizzaDog, as far as what their bans are and what their picks are playing a little bit more patch meta Dota.
Mm-hmm. Puck, certainly the opening is one that's quite common. Sand King, though, not uncommon in the first phase, but certainly the Venomancer has fallen out of favor to some extent. And speaking of meta, I mean, these 3 heroes are almost meta independent for PizzaDog, but definitely ones that are still considered effective. And the word that floats around these heroes is stable, I suppose. So you've got the Ogre Magi, who kind of fills your roaming need early on. You've got the Puck, who can really go anywhere except for the safe lane. And even in, I guess, some edge cases could make it there. And then got your Rubik to shore up your safe lane, kind of hold it down, decent at zoning offlaners, but perhaps more importantly, gives you certain kill potential in the early game with his toolkit.
I think we also very frequently see Rubik and Ogre Magi kind of split up from one another and go to the basically make a set up a 2-1-2 type of lane scenario. We'll really have to see what the picks are going to be, see if that's coming in. But Ogre Magi, maybe not the best at doing damage at the enemy offlaner if he is going to be in that safe lane kind of supporty role, but for sure is just like a brick wall. So you can't really go through Ogre Magi. If you do, you'll take quite a few right clicks. You can't really battle up against him, really, no matter who you are. So PizzaDog do have a lot of lane options there as they now pick up the Faceless Void. But these heroes that we're going to see on the Radiant side, lots of lane control, a hell of a lot of magic damage. So PizzaDog do have to worry about how are they going to actually not just get insta-give. They need magic resistance, they need BKBs, they need some null fields. The Radiant are working with a lot of stun combos and a lot of damage.
Yeah, they do have a magic damage in spades, and certainly some elusivity between the combination of Sand King and Mirana. Venomancer, a pretty damn good laner against the Faceless Void. That was dyslexia at its finest. And for that reason, I expect him to be safe lane, the Safeless Void. Just because, yeah, one-on-one against the Veno, or even in any lane up against the Venomancer, feels like he really can't stand on wave and even be able to soak experience. So at the current juncture in the draft, I would expect this to be a safe lane Faceless Void. We'll see if they end up switching that up. Mirana, a decent hero as far as being outside the range of the Chronosphere, being able to kind of just disjoint your attempt at a kill with throwing the arrow in. But aside from that, seems like Faceless Void should have a pretty good time in this game.
Yeah, there are the Venomancer matchup is certainly nice for the Void in lane. It takes a lot of chip. No, it's what the hell am I talking about? It's not nice. You'll take a lot of chip and you'll really struggle. And then you also kind of have to deal with the later stages where you're going to be going up against these pretty quick initiation styles from the Radiant side. Like Blink Burrow Strike is not something that you could really ever avoid as a Faceless Void. And now with the Blink Stomp as well, I guess it's a little bit easier to avoid. But again, the Radiant are just looking to combo up their spells. This is a situation where if you're PizzaDog, you're going to wish that you had like a silencer type hero, because if you're able to combo break this stun combo and actually save your allies, then a lot of this damage from the Radiant is front loaded in that they use all their spells, and that's the majority of their damage. If you can survive that initial brunt, you're going to be fine most of the time, but it's always that first part that's really difficult. And with cores of Void and Puck, actually surviving that initial brunt is not that easy. These heroes don't build a lot of bulk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we could definitely see something like a Lincoln Sphere build on the Void that we saw quite often back when he was, a little bit more popular as far as the off lane goes. Puck could go for something like a Yules, but definitely does seem like a very initiation or burst-oriented lineup thus far from Radiant. I don't know how I feel about Centaur as a laner, and it does feel like perhaps PizzaDog have done a little bit of prep work into this one, banning out the Tide, and maybe this is kind of the substitute. They also first phase banned the Doom. So very similar in nature as far as at least the lane goes, these three heroes, Doom, Tide, and Centaur. Maybe Centaur gives you a little bit more with a little bit less as far as items go, having the Stampede innately available to him. But I don't know if I'm sold on Centaur in lane, in recent times.
I feel like it's going to be not bad here, though. I mean, Centaur is a hero that's very bulky, and you can't really chip him down because then you're going to have to deal with return. He's going to turn around and just attack you. And with the Faceless Void core, like, you can't really do all that much versus a Centaur. If you take out the Faceless Void, swap in a Vengeful Spirit, no pun intended, then you actually do have like a viable kill combo. But Rubik, Ogre Magi, Faceless Void is just a lot of right clicking. And if you're going to kill off a Centaur War Runner, you're running in with two melee heroes. Again, if this is really going to be the lane setup for PizzaDog. And then Stomp is just the easiest thing in the world to land. It does seem like the Centaur is going to be pretty resilient here, but we'll see what the lanes are actually going to look like. Hey, second OD of the day. It looks like either support Mirana or that support Venomancer. I'm honestly not too sure which one is more common. I have no idea.
I would say support Mirana, and the only reason I would say that is I just feel like safe lane Mirana as compared to mid lane Mirana is just so underwhelming. Hey, it's a possibility, but my guess is it's gonna be that kind of roaming Mirana. However, gotta at least flag the fact that Veno is going to be a lot better at zoning an offlaner than a Mirana would, and Sand King not the greatest being a melee hero. So it is possible that they do put the Veno in the 5 role. But yeah, like you said, second OD of the game. To some extent here, it feels like a deny pick. You have the Faceless Void on your side. They banned out the SF, so they really truly do expect this puck to be in the off lane. And the Death Prophet ban came out from PizzaDog themselves. So SF, Death Prophet, OD, those are your 3 ranged cores out of the mid lane that can kind of help out your Faceless Void. So they will end up flexing puck towards the mid lane, it looks like, being that there aren't many range cores left, I suppose. And they'll pick up the Legion, so another kind of, I would say slightly, under-targeted, or, I don't know, I don't want to say undervalued, but overlooked hero, at least recently.
Yeah, there are situations where the first hero you think about is going to be that Legion Commander. I think the easiest thing is, hey, I'm up against a Bat Rider. Pick up a Legion Commander. Hey, I'm up against a Broodmother. Let's just get some good matchups. But still, you're working with, as I said earlier, a lot of stun combos from the Radiant side. So being able to break that, being able to purge them off is really nice. If PizzaDog can set it up in such a way where Legion Commander is mostly dealing with the Venomancer, then the threat of Veno, if it is support Veno, which is most of the threat is going to be from that crippling slow from the Gale. And hey, nowadays you can purge off said slow. So for the Legion Commander, she is going to be in a position where she can be very defensive if she's not 100% absolutely completely chain stunned. The problem with the Legion Commander is that she works really terribly with Void. Like, she doesn't do anything with Void, so yeah. There is not exactly an abundance of synergy between these two heroes.
Yeah, and the puck does contribute a good amount of damage into the Chronosphere, but he's certainly no OD or Death Prophet or heroes of that nature out of the mid lane. So we'll see, what kind of work they can get done with this Chronosphere. Either way, going to be a nice team fight tool to have. There is a fair amount of mobility on the Radiant side, though. Mirana, Sand King, Centaur, these are all heroes, and even to some extent the OD that can kind of effectively dodge the Chronosphere. So it felt like, just in that very last phase with the OD pick, they to some extent drafted PizzaDog into a hole.
Dude,
or into a corner.
The yellow wind tabs, because it was definitely there in the last.
Yeah, which is great because
because this is actually game 1.
I didn't want the players to see it. You had me like neurotically checking the chat in the draft. People must have been wondering, why does he keep opening chat? I was just waiting for a player to be like, "What'd you do, man?"
30 seconds late. We're gonna have to give a def win over to the Radiant.
That would have been rough. Radiant were the first team in the lobby, though. So if any team, would have been them.
First come, first win. Easy win. I'm still not exactly sure who's going to be farming in this bottom lane, because the Venomancer's build is not exactly like a support build, and the Mirana has a Wraith band. It looks like the Venomancer is more likely to be played as support, but
yeah,
it does seem like, well, he's kind of bare bones. I guess he got all the other stuff, but not enough other stuff so that the Sand King can go boots first. Very interesting. I feel like they could have juggled this so that Sand King can get boots first. They get all of their restoratives, they get all their vision, and they can still function somewhat decently in this lane.
So it is going to be the safe lane Mirana for Trey. Not the most common hero laning combination we're accustomed to, but Legion Commander still holding a skill point here, so can or depurge when you're stunned up, and will press the attack here, looking for a path through the trees to safety, but is going to be hard pressed to find it. Does now salve up in the fog. Lunch Lady pressing, no Gale, and TP back. Well, Burrow Strike will find it. Arrow is going to connect onto a creep. Another press the attack flies out, and it's going to be a wild goose chase. The Venomous Gale, though, does connect here onto the Legion Commander, and despite being quite the tanky hero, it does look like First Blood will be attained. Yes, it will, by the SRG side.
It was ours.
I was just about to say, like, I feel like it would have been better, like, once she gets hit with that second burrow strike, to just put her back against the wall and then just fight. She has a full creep wave there, and creeps this early on against heroes that don't have stout shield or insane armor like an Ogre Magi. You maybe can race there?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you understand the skill up as well, but even against Gale, overwhelming odds. If they're standing under a wave, couple heroes gives you a pretty good amount of damage and move speed. So it is a little rough to have skilled the press the attack early on. He's going to get burrowed up here by the SRG captain, who will snag a bounty rune away from the Legion. And, the start, certainly not ideal, but it is a Legion commander.
Yeah, I've played Dota before. I know Legion Commander goes in the jungle.
Yeah, well, not with press the attack level 1 and no quelling blade, but this is, yeah, like you said, this is the natural home for this hero. For all of you wondering in the pubs. Haste rune. Yeah, haste rune up for the Rubik, and they'll save the telekinesis right until the end. They should be well aware that he does have the return skilled up, but just saving it in case.
Rubik got seems like a surprisingly fast level 2 for that Rubik
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Ogre Magi both. Not really sure how they juggled that experience. Bounty runes. I actually didn't look at the early game bounty runes, but the extra Fade Bolt, damage that you definitely can't underestimate. Cuts through that return, so you don't have to worry about getting any additional damage there. And Centaur Warrunner is going to get some backup here in the Sand King, but still a level 1 Centaur is not something to really be afraid of.
Yeah.
Even if he was level 2 with the Stomp, they can't really ever kill off this Faceless Void with just the 2 heroes here. So Faceless Void should be feeling pretty comfortable with the fact that he's not going to take all that much chip damage that he can't handle.
Yeah, I feel, I gotta agree in the sense that Sand King needs to get things done elsewhere. If they continue to just kill off this Legion bottom lane, you would hope and assume that with his level 6, if they hit it at a reasonably close time to the Legion commander, that he could be just a bit more effective with the Stampede for his team than the Legion with the duel. But for now, Jodeci does make his way over to this northwestern quadrant, and we'll see if maybe they can aggress on the Rubik. Like you said, Ogre, Void, going to be difficult kills. Lunch Lady, though, he's going to bring his Venomancer up towards the top lane, and does have 2 levels in the Gale, so pretty darn good spell to have early on, especially up against some supports. Stomp does go out onto the Void, though, and maybe they make a go on this target, which is certainly a difficult one. He will do some trading. Actually does use the Time Walk here. So over in the tree line, the Radiant supports await him to overstep.
Invis Rubik is going to see the Sand King. They pretty much already knew he was there. I don't think they're going to see the Venomancer, though.
Ignite going to fly out. Mango's available. Stomp. Oh, the bash mid-animation. Gale only connects onto 1, and he time walks away from the hoof stomp. Fairy Fire will be there. They'll try and take down the Rubik first and should be able to get it. They indeed do. Still no TP for Foos available for 15 seconds, but they've actually just kind of given up chase on the Centaur. And now with the poison attack slow and the Sand King, they try to take out the Ogre. He's going to look to go put a club into the Venomancer, but unable to get the kill. Sand King will end up taking out the Ogre Magi, and they've even rotated in Mossy, the captain. Coil will, well, Coil doesn't do damage on cast anymore. Void will get the kill onto the Centaur. And a little bit of free space being found in the mid lane for the OD, who prior to this moment was getting beaten. Let's just say beaten in the mid lane. 25-9 to the 18-5, but gets himself a free wave here as the puck does leave. I think Radiant overall shouldn't be too unhappy with that. They get the kill on the Rubik, ultimately trade their Centaur, but it does cause a pretty big rotation out of the Dire.
And that was also a little mistake there from the Rubik. He tried to use telekinesis to actually get the stun value instead of just zapping the Venomancer for a kill. You always can land Fade Bolt after you land a telekinesis that just has more range, and he didn't do that. So tried to go for maximum value and ended up costing him a pretty free kill there. Is going to be showing off the downside of the Rubik and the Ogre duo. They have a lot of utility, they have a lot of slows and whatnot, but as far as actual damage are concerned, you don't really have a lot of it, especially when you're trying to kill off a Centaur. And now the Ogre can be aggressive upon one more time. He has backup though in the Void.
Oh, the Void's so quick. Yeah, makes the time walk over to the east. Finishes off the captain from SRG. He's even going to drop the Chronosphere. The Centaur for Foo's actually going to walk into it. Gets a timely bash. Ignite should finish off the Venomancer, and it does. Now Fire Blast. They're pressing forward for more. They have the Telekinesis. They'll drop up the Centaur into the air. He's really got nothing. Could try it for the double edge on the Ogre. Doesn't get that. Speaking of double Burrow Strike from Jodeci. He's trying to take out with the Caustic Finale. Yes, he will be able to. That Ogre Magi. And so they get a couple of kills for the Dire side. They do end up losing their Ogre on the back end of it, but I think they'll be pretty happy with that trade. The OD forced to rotate in, doesn't really get anything out of it either. And in the meantime, they did have the Legion finding some space bottom. Foo's cheaping down to bottom now, actually in a little bit of trouble. And Mossy will force him out.
Tanking top again. So much relentless chase here. And this is pretty perfect, honestly, for the Faceless Void. Like, he's 304, and obviously you look at his score and immediately find that out, but most of the time for Faceless Voids, if you're going to go towards a safe lane, you're farming pretty well, right? You get your power treads, you get maybe some Mask of Madness build up, but if you actually want to use your Chronosphere, you have to leave the lane.
Yeah.
And he hasn't had to do that. Or, I mean, barely. He went over to the Roshan area. That's barely leaving the lane. So he can just drop the Chronosphere, get the kills, and then immediately go straight back to farming. So not only is he killing heroes, but he's also not missing a beat as far as killing creeps are concerned, simply because all the action's happening so close by. And it might happen a little bit more.
Burrow's only going to connect onto one. Fire Blast is there onto Jodeci. He's taking some Ignite damage as well. They're continuing to put the right clicks into him. Bloodlust onto the Faceless Void, but now the Mirana for Trey has rotated in. Arrow does connect, but even the Puck here now, it's a party in the top lane, and everyone's invited. Illusory Orb takes out 2. Double kill for the Puck and a single on the Mirana for the Faceless Void. So a major rotation in from the Radiant side, and they're punished heavily as OD, the only one to not join the fray, carrying a TP in the mid lane, but unable to make it towards that top lane engagement. And this is all net gain for the Radiant, or the Dire, excuse me, without using Chronosphere, which, you know, should be up rather shortly. Yeah, 5 seconds from now is going to be up again. And even the Legion commander, finding some space in her bottom lane, has picked up a set of phase boots.
As great as it is to pressure the Faceless Void, you gotta know when to say when. And that's about when you have 2 level 3 heroes messing with level 4 heroes with the Faceless Void right around the corner, who's level 7. Like, just numerically, that does not add up. You don't want to be going to those engagements, and they will have to be forced to leave him to his own devices now as they go instead for the Legion commander, but she's gotten so much time to just sit on this bottom lane that she's a much more difficult nut to crack than before, and she actually has some help this time. Yeah,
Rubik gonna jump forward with the Telekinesis. Fadebolt is there as well. Burrow Strike comes through, but again, Mossy, the captain, showing up when needed. 2-man Waning Rift and the Coil. Sanity's Eclipse, though, coming through from the recently TP'd in Blue Crayon, and he will get the kill on the Legion commander. Not before she gets a double, though. And actually, Trey is the one to kill off the Legion, get the last hit there. A nice bit of gold. Now Chronosphere is going to catch the tower as well as the OD. They'll kill off the OD with ease. Fire Blast will ensure his death, and the Rubik the one to pick it up. TP's in from Jodeci. He's really not a big threat. You know, Mike, you touched upon it. These supports just now, you know, making that level 4 mark for the Sand King, about 1 behind his laning equivalent in that Ogre, and the Rubik similarly very close to his level 5 milestone.
Ogre has no mana though, so this is kind of a little bit of a bluff here from the Ogre Magi. He'll be fine to back off, but all this fighting, 10 minutes in, got a 4K lead for the Dire side right now, and that's going to lead to a couple of really big items. The Legion Commander isn't quite yet at her blink, but the Puck is only 500 away from his. The Rubik is actually pretty darn wealthy at this stage, is ahead of the Centaur, nipping at the heels of his friendly Legion Commander, so he's got the Arcane Boots, so mana concerns no more, and 700 gold in addition to that is quite a bit, so maybe another Blink Dagger on the team, perhaps a Force Staff. Either way, this Rubik is going to be packing a little bit of extra heat that normally 11 minutes in, Rubiks won't even be thinking about, so not to mention the fact that Faceless Void is going to go for a Battle Fury, so his farm is going to stay very high. This is something that the Radiant team have to get around by just finding their 3v1s, their 2v1s, and just teaming up to kill off that random Void or that random Rubik that they stumble upon. Getting into even fights where it's 3v3, 4v4, that's not exactly how the Radiant team are supposed to win this. Not until they get Blink Daggers and more levels.
And don't forget, you know, levels on the supports. You know, the Ogre, namely, very low as far as int goes, but the Rubik are just going to be a little bit more resilient, perhaps, to the Sanity's Eclipse, the Arcane Orb Steel, just getting these early levels. Now they give the Legion Commander a little bit of time in the top lane. They do have the Stampede, though, however. You know, Centaur, to some extent, a beneficiary of all the skirmishing. I mean, Legion Commander found some free time and then a double kill bottom lane, so she's level 9. To the Fooz's level, you know, shortly to be 7, but he can certainly put some work in for his team with a level 7. So we'll see if they make a move towards the Centaur. For now, it is the Dire maybe looking to make a move with the Chronosphere perfectly placed on the edge. They'll be able to Fire Blast again right on the end of it, and Ignite will finish the job. Stampede even used for this, and really there's no potential for a return kill here. As Jodeci already using his toolkit, no ultimate available on either of these Radiant supports. And looks like we need a pause. Quickly?
Well, I doubt it's the Faceless Void with internet problems, because this Chronosphere is perfectly on point. Right on the edge when you're trying to mess with the hero like Mirana is not something that's super easy. Like, her escape range is pretty darn high, even with just one leap, even though it is only level 1. Faceless Void has used every single Chronosphere pretty much as soon as it came up. Like, he was looking for that kill when he still had 5 seconds left until his Chronosphere was up, and he's getting paid off so huge and investing even more for the late game in this Battle Fury. I'm not entirely sure if I like this decision. Like, it's not like they have an overwhelming late game advantage or anything like that, but still, it's going to be an amazing item for him to just get further and further ahead in the net worth department. So
yeah, I think partly the thought process is you have Bloodlust too, right? So
that's true. Like, you don't really need Mask of Madness, I guess.
But definitely, you know, feels a bit greedy. It also just feels like, you know, we've got a good advantage here. Let's snowball it. I suppose you did pick the late Legion Commander, which isn't a great hero to contribute to the Chronosphere, so it is a bit greedy. But yeah, you know, like you said, we got the Faceless Void sitting atop the net worth chart, and every Chronosphere has been impactful for him thus far. And the last couple ones that he's made a move towards this bottom lane, he's killed very valuable cores with. Unfortunately for their side, you know, they don't push buildings so adeptly, and so that you've yet to really get any sort of structural damage done. But as you said, the Faceless Void in a very comfortable position at this point.
All these mobility tools coming up. Obviously, Faceless Void already has his time walk, but he's even going to go queue up a Shadow Blade afterwards. Blink Daggers on both the Legion and the Puck, likely on the Rubik as well. Taking towers will just be an after fact after getting the kill first. That's what they're going to be looking for, just constantly going in, constantly picking them off. You only have so many Stampedes, you only have so many leaps. Sand King absolutely needs to get his Blink Dagger. And Gale is actually stolen top river.
Arrow gonna fly out. Shinkle barely dodging it. They have a blink duel. Dust flies out, and Legion Commander gonna jump forward, find the Venomancer, gets the duel off. Still standing strong as the Ogre. He will be brought down eventually to the OD, who's stolen a lot of int, gets a 2-man Sanity's Eclipse, and will, with the right clicks, take out the Rubik. But Mossy gonna jump back in, double kill for the Puck. Will be able to jaunt to the north. Does not have a Dream Coil available. All this without the Void and the Chronosphere. Does end up being a 2 for 2, but it's 3 for 2, I should say, with the Veno going down early. And it ends up being a 2 cores and a support for 2 supports. So without a Chronosphere, reveal of the Blink Dagger. Still pretty happy for the Dire side. Didn't exactly see where the Centaur went down there, but either way.
The OD at least got his hands a little bit bloody there. Like, he's having easily the best time on the team. Having gone for the Dragonlance means that he needs to get involved in these engagements. If he had a Hand of Midas, then, you know, let your allies die, sit back and farm, whatever, you're okay. But investing for a Dragonlance, which doesn't help you farm in the slightest, it just helps you fight, you got to make sure you're fighting. And the OD not only fought, and also got the kills and survived. So that went as good as it could have gone for the OD, but everyone else, they just kind of got manhandled. Grouping up like that for a 3-man coil up against the Legion Commander also landed that 3-man overwhelming odds. Like, it's just not going to happen at that point. Again, they need their Blink Daggers and neither the Sand King nor the Centaur are really close to that. They're going to try to stampede the Rubik, but Burrow Strike was stolen, so he has a blink of his own now.
And Burrow's off to the east, but he is slowed up. Gets the telekinesis off. Poison attack is there, however, with the Caustic Finale. Nice telekinesis stun, but still only delays the inevitable. TP in top lane. The Chronosphere is available for this Void. Poison Nova going to be expended pretty much just to keep him at bay. And you can effectively say the Poison Nova was used for a Rubik kill, but now with that threat off of the board, the Legion Commander rotating in, looking to flank. Void still has a Chronosphere available. Jaunting forward is the Puck looking for a coil. Doesn't find anyone. And unfortunately, they will guess wrong. But have assembled as pretty much a full unit here top lane with the Ogre Magi now TPing in. And Rubik's going to find some space for himself mid lane. Does have the spell steal up. Arrow going to fly. Does connect onto the Void. He's going to immediately press the attack though. Jump forward, Chronosphere. They got the Waning Rift off beforehand. It's enough burst. And they'll kill off. Now the Epicenter, though, coming through. But the duel is there. Dust once again from Storm Code. Nice big double edge, but they do end up getting the kill on the Sand King. It's not a dual win, however. With the time dilation, they're able to slow down both the Venomancer and the Centaur and just beating into the enemy. Is Don't Come to Q tomorrow. And living up to his namesake here. He is providing some trauma for the Radiant side. Not even the best chrono of his into this early game. They don't get the dual win either there, as a really nice combo counter initiating from the Centaur came out, but I suppose the advantage is just too wide at this point, and no OD once again present in that top lane, and the fight goes well for the Dire.
That's definitely a fight where you need the OD involved. I'm not really sure what the hell happened to his mana pool, his health pool. Not looking too hot, even though he wasn't really interacting with anyone. But oh, actually, Rubik stole Sandy's Eclipse. It's not going to do much versus the OD, but he's still looking for it. The Faceless Void was unchecked. Like, he was just in the back line, literally just A-moving up, and they'll look for the OD now, who actually ran out of mana because of the Eclipse. Never mind, it will do a lot. I'll give them the kill if they snap the coil. Okay, that did a lot more. Just a super mana drain, I guess, but the Faceless Void needs to be checked. You need to imprison him, you need to stun him, you need to occupy him somehow, or kite him or something, but the Faceless Void, even though he doesn't have like the most battle-y item in the Battle Fury, it's still a plus 45 damage item. He still has Bloodlust, which is maxed out at this point. Even though he hasn't built like all aggro, he still does a lot of damage.
It's what you picked the Ogre for, isn't it? Used to be.
Best in the game.
Yeah, it used to be like his other spells were good, but now it's just Bloodlust. Multicast Bloodlust, the dream. Taking out the tier 1 with ease. 10 seconds on the sidelines for the OD still. They'll at least put some pressure into this mid lane as they get the telekinesis off onto the Centaur. Jump forward. They're going to look for this duel brazenly. And he is a tanky hero here, but they will not get the duel. They'll get the kill with the overwhelming odds. Still trying to press forward. A couple of different leaps used. And now this is looking like NA Pubs as a two-man. Burrow Strike does connect. They should be able to find some return kills here. Teeping out as the Ogre, but Caustic Finale finishes him off. And soon thereafter will finish the Rubik as well. And not sure that the entire team was expecting that duel from the Legion Commander. They were pretty quick about reacting, but Centaur doesn't just seem like the ideal target to jump in, and maybe they overestimate their burst a little bit. Chronosphere was cooling down, but yeah, Mirana, OS Frog, 4 leaps. Well, not 4, but, you know, many leaps back to the base. Keeps her safe, and effectively they get 2 support kills because of it.
I'm not really sure why you duel a Centaur. Like, now she has Blade Mail, but, like, even if she had it then, it's like, yeah you killed Centaur. Great. Maybe if you had a Blink Dagger and, like, maybe if you're scared about his counter initiation, you want to take him off the board really quickly, but, you know, dude's got a lot of health. He has a Chainmail, which they should have seen in his inventory, so that is definitely not the play there. Kind of baited the team to go in a little bit too deep. I mean, there is still a tier 2. You could probably just take that one and be happy. But you know, all that being said, the Dire team make that blunder, are still grotesquely ahead. Unfortunately for Rubik, he's going to wander into nothing. He's actually just fine. He steals Eclipse, he breaks the smoke, and he's out. Mr. Shinkle, the magician. Don't die after I just called you a magician.
Alright, Burrow Strike connects. Press the attack is just before, excuse me, the Sacred Arrow, so he does end up dropping. Telekinesis stun, though, does connect onto a few, and so does the coil. Jump forward for the duel. The Mirana so low, she's able to leap away. Chronosphere does not catch her. They will get the OD, however. Banishment will keep the Legion from winning. And Blade Mail Sanity's Eclipse return kills off the OD. Double kill for the Legion Commander. Again, Mirana able to leap away, but only in the midst of the rest of her lineup dying. 3 for 1 as the Rubik, you know, maybe not a magician enough to do a disappearing act, but he does create an illusion such that his entire team comes and kills the rest of them. So pretty well done.
I mean, yeah, he kind of lasted long enough so that you could set up for that 4-man coil. And you know, it looked like the Chronosphere and the duel was going to be a little bit cleaner from everyone else. But you land a coil like that, you're not losing that engagement. It's just not happening, even with the Imprison being rather timely. So, yeah, Rubik ultimately did blow the smoke, did see the Moonlight Shadow, gave them all the intel and really all the time in the world to decide whether or not they want to take that engagement, and then teleport everyone in, because yes, they did want to take that engagement. So still, that is going to be Rubik with a gigantic boon for the team, and no Chronosphere just yet, so they will have to chill out for just a little while. But they push down the bottom lane, they take that, and at this point it seems like Dire Side might be thinking about how they're going to approach Roshan.
Definitely so, with all the map control that they're gaining. But I got to talk about this just briefly. I know this is open quals. You know, skill level seems to be relatively even between the two squads. But how does Sanity's Eclipse get stolen twice? I mean, he was walking through the jungle in the bottom, ready to smoke. You're telling me between the last team fight and then he didn't cast one imprisonment? I don't know what's going on here. But
he's had the timer. No, I'll tell you what happened afterwards, because there's going to be another fight as Legion Commander walks in the wrong neighborhood.
Up to the high ground they go. They will find the Legion Commander, though. Stampede going to be popped as well. Burrow Strike finds the Rubik. He got a double edge, unfortunately for him, and that's just going to end up killing him off. The Dagon, though, coming through. They do get the Centaur, and the Chronosphere catches on too, but can the Void really get much else here? Epicenter flies through. He will time walk up to the high ground, dodge the Venomous Gale. And one Arcane Orb will follow him. He's got some stick charges as well as the Shadow Blade, so should be able to make it away. And interesting for them to re-engage, but they do end up getting the Mirana and the Centaur on the back of that. Shadow Blade is available for the Void, but he chooses not to use it just yet. A Waning Rift finds the OD, just a big Shadow Blade right-click, gets the kill. And starting to look like a raid boss is Don't Come to Q's Faceless Void. 12k net worth at this point. He hasn't died. He's 10-0 and 13. We've been seeing a lot of these KDAs thus far today, Mike.
I mean, Faceless Void he's a slippery one for sure. I think the most impressive part about this is that he's not really building survivability. He has 1500 HP up against an arrow, up against a Blink Burrow Strike Epicenter. Like, there's all these tools on the Radiant side in order to kill Faceless Voids. And yeah, they have to battle through Legion Commanders press the attack, which is certainly going to be annoying. So he's got to make sure your stuns land and land at appropriate times, but goddamn, he's building pure aggressive items and he's not getting punished in the slightest. You do have to worry a little bit though, because I feel like every single time I see a hero like Faceless Void do this well with these items, they always go a little bit too far. It's gonna happen. You know it will.
Yeah, already we saw when they did Duel the Centaur there mid that he was the first one into kind of tier 4 range for his squad. Again, Shrinkle in trouble. Gets the blink back this time, however. Stampede is going to be used. They do have a blink on the Sand King. He'll opt not to Burrow Strike here. They wait for the press the attack, get the Hoof Stomp off. They still have a Burrow in just a second, but the duel finds the Sand King. Do they really want to turn this right now with the Blade Mail? Actually doing a lot of work is the Legion, but he will not get the duel once again. Gets caught with an arrow still, proving to be pretty tanky here. Press the attack flies out, and now the Ogre rotating back through. The Void, big bad Void, making his way down to the south, gets the Time Dilation off onto the Sand King, but does not have any detection nearby. Puck is near, but has not much mana at all. They'll just surround the Veno and find the kill there. Still chasing for more. Mirana showing on the wave recently. Jump forward. Orb looking to scout her. They do not have a coil, however. Mirana going for the Moonlight Shadow. Fade. Sentry. Drop down. Can they find her?
Think she's in range?
Yeah.
Yeah, got him.
And Storm Code, man.
While all that duel shenanigans happening in the river, the OD, his entire backup stampeded away from him going after that kill. So he was just jacked up by the puck in the faceless void, and he has a hurricane pike, but that's not nearly enough to escape. So the OD, the hero that can do the most, just doesn't have the backup to do anything, and that's a little bit of miscommunication. I feel like you got to make sure that your OD has protection. If you don't, he's just a dead weight hero. They're gonna try to stampede in again, but I'm not really sure if this is the time to do it. Face the void is Chronosphere.
He has a chrono available, and they're starting to group up. He'll catch 2 at least. Sand King is still there. Duel's gonna come, and it is gonna be on the OD. They will get the Sand King and finish the Veno as well. Illusory Orb, Dagon contributing to the cause, but yeah, it is just, they just do not have an answer for this Chronosphere, and the follow-up is there. Shinkle's been creating a lot of space on this Rubik. Stormcold's been really diligent about having detection on him, even from very early in the game when the Mirana just ticked 6 in the top lane, had that dust available for the Moonlight Shadow, and they have constantly been able to punish the Radiant. Buyback comes up from the OD. Sacred Arrow is going to whiff, and he's kind of out alone. We do have a Centaur behind him. No blink on the Centaur, however. But that buyback will be enough with the Chronosphere on the sidelines, coiled down as well, to deter any further pursuit of the buildings from the Dire side. And they certainly can at least take a peek at the Roche Pit, although their vision is not really all that great in this area right now.
They'll still be able to push pretty much with impunity. In 40 seconds, they'll be completely safe in doing so. No Chronosphere just yet, but Don't Come to Q does have that super long time walk, so it was difficult to kill him before. He has now extra range in the time walk, as well as that Manta-style illusion creation, so being able to maybe get rid of some Gale slows, perhaps. Jinkle this time is not going to be caught, but they are grouping up a lot.
Oh, what? They just imprisoned and made the Sacred Arrow miss, but they will end up getting Rubik. Overwhelming Odds is going to catch onto the Centaur. Blade Mail coming through. 2-man coil on the backlines, and the Duel going to try and find a third. Astral Imprisonment will be there in time, but they've pretty much isolated out the Centaur and will be able to kill him off. Now Veno in trouble. Orb finishes him there, and still, bloodlusted up, chasing for more is the Faceless Void. Buyback coming out, and the Chronosphere is there. Catches the Legion Commander, but it also catches the Void. And this shit, well, blink forward from Puck, but GG will be called. And in this game 1, I mean, hard to really say, one exact moment where PizzaDog kind of took the game over. But as you mentioned, Void kind of getting all he wanted in that early game. They spent so much time trying to pressure him that the Legion even was able to get an early blink. They take a big engagement in the mid lane where they hit that 4-man dust and 3-man coil, and from thereafter, every team fight just seemed to be PizzaDog's.
And just look at the contributions of the supports. I think that's really all you have to look for why PizzaDog's won. I mean, it's hard to say that Ogre Magi did amazingly, right? He's bloodlusting people, he's stunning people. It's really not that hard. The Rubik, though, it seems like even in that last fight, just every single time, either being a ward, which is sometimes all you need, but most of the time is forcing the Radiant side to group up. Because they only have one Blink Dagger on the Sand King and none on the Centaur, when they stampede to chase after someone, they group up. Like, that's just how stampede works. You all charge at the same person. And when you group up, Overwhelming Odds kicks your ass. He's set up for several 3-man coils from the Puck. So Mr. Shinkle doing some really, really nice work. And it's half him doing well and half Radiant just consistently taking the bait, which at a certain point, you have to be like, okay, it's just a Rubik. We're not going to go for him, or we're going to commit these 2 heroes to go for him. We're not going to chase with literally the entire team to just get this one kill, but that just didn't happen. So PizzaDog get a pretty clean game 1.
Partly, I suppose, a result of the lanes, that very early blink on Rubik, just kind of allowing him to draw engagements out until reinforcements arrive. But regardless, PizzaDog going to take the game 1 victory. I gotta say it, guys. Stormcode is Legend 5. There is hope for all of us. He just won a game. Staring at one more game until he makes the closed qualifiers. PizzaDog up 1-0. Promise I'll get the score right in the lobby this time, guys. We'll be back shortly with game 2.